on. Hello, 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 hello. Let's get that camera a little, there you go. All right. I was sitting here talking to Mark and saying, man, I'm early today. I got so relaxed that all of a sudden I looked up and went, I'm late. So, hi, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. I'm very glad that I could see you without us being terribly flooded, because we got hit with almost 4.5 inches of rain Thursday. So glad to see Michael's gone. He's gone. So I feel so bad for the Panhandle. Oh, man. So Diane 57 is here, Miss Prize winner Diane 57, and she should be getting that prize in just a couple days. So I'm very excited. I'm going to put some lotion on my hands so I don't look quite as old. And, I looked down at my hands and went, uh-oh, a little wrinkly out there in there. So anyway, congratulations to Diane. Goodbye, Michael. Cooper can tell you, Miss Cooper here, Melissa can tell you, we had rain. In fact, across the street is a silt pond and a little lake. Well, the pipe that ran between the silt pond and the lake failed, and the land around it caved in, and now the pipe is floating out in the lake. So a lot of good it's doing. And we paid a lot for that, and I didn't like the job they did anyway. So, but spend time thinking about Mexico Beach, Panama City Beach. Those places are just wiped out. So hello, everybody. And let me see, we've got Diane here. Patty Chamberlain back from Maine. Hello, Patty. Melissa's here, which is Miss Cooper Ladane. Bonnie is here. Couldn't do it without Bonnie. I tell you what, if we ever have a Sunday and Bonnie doesn't show up, I'm shutting it down. And let's see. Do you see my Kiwi? She is our guest of honor today. Oh no, a tree fell on your fence. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Here I'm complaining about our little thing across the street, and you had damage. That must have been scary. Mark said when he came home that day, he had to kind of like dodge around, and he kept trying to reach me, and the service was in and out, and he got worried. But we sit up here high enough. I wasn't worried. And it's funny because I went out and said, oh, we got more rain than I thought. I was down here making a video, which I promise I'm going to get it put up. So it missed the chickens. You have 5 eggs. Can you email me a picture of them? I will put it on the live stream. I want to figure out how we can do this. I don't have a smartphone. I only have a track phone. But I'm thinking if you email me pictures, I can take the camera and show it to my email. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I know that people love seeing what y'all are doing. I mean, I get boring after a while. They want to see what you're doing. So my birdie is great. She has all her tail feathers are growing back in. Right now, they're just hard little straw-looking things under her little wispy feathers. But it's so nice. And thank you, Diane, for your reassurance that they would come back in. I did some research and found that when birds are threatened, it is part of their natural makeup. Like a lizard that drops its tail, they are made to release the tail feathers if they feel threatened or something stomps on them so they can get away. And so I think that's what she did. She is cute as a button. Okay, do you mind if a proud mama tells you a little bit about her girl? Well, little Miss Kiwi has gotten so sweet, but she's still spunky too. But she will lay on her back, on my chest, and I tickle her and play with her feet and pick her up by her feet. And cute as a button. loves blackberries. Mark got some blackberries. Harris Teeter had a sale, 99 cents for blackberries. And I thought I might want a few. Oh my gosh, she loves them. Unfortunately, when she is eating one, her beak and the cage look like something catastrophic happened because that blackberry juice is ran all over her. But she's very much a fruit eater. When I read about them, they have a natural fig tree down in South America, where they're from, in Brazil, that they love. You know, that fig tree is their thing. And so she loves bananas. She loves blackberries, grapes, loves raisins, strawberries, watermelon. I'm trying to think of all the things I've fed her. Loves chicken eggs. I was going to ask you, is that a little cannibalistic? So, because my chickens love their own eggs too. In fact, you'll find this, Melissa, as a treat. Sometimes I just get, you know, like once or twice a week, I'll just throw them a couple of their eggs back to them. Let them, you know, you want them to crack. Don't give them the whole egg. You want them to crack, because there are chickens who are smart enough that if they know they can break open that egg and eat it, they'll eat all their own eggs. So, oh yeah, she is quite the food hound, and she can still keep her girlish sugar, unlike me. You know, I look at something and gain 3 pounds. But anyway, that, you know how that goes. So, you see, do you see an interesting quilt behind me? Yeah. Some gal named Melissa, who's going to sit by me at the retreat, suggested I show you this. So I will be showing you that. And Mark put together a clothes rack so I can now have quilts up, you know, not on that kind of drying rack that I had last week that kind of wanted to fall apart. But, well, what it is, it's called, I can tell y'all want me to go ahead and talk about it. So, oh, I have a fig tree out front, and the crows, and this year we had a bumper crop of figs. But for weeks, the crows and the squirrels got to it. And so Mark was only able to save me a handful of figs. And of course, I have to share them now with her. So let me bring the quilt up and we'll see it. Okay. Whoops. Uh-oh. Don't want to scare the birdie. It's okay, Kiwi. It's okay. She's like, oh no. As long as it's not a dog. She does not like my dogs anymore. I don't blame her. Okay, so here is the quilt. And, oh, you know what? Melissa, do you remember who the designer was for this quilt? It's called Beach Cottages. And isn't it nice to be able to roll it around? And this way it's held so I don't have to kind of go, oh. So I'm real tickled. I'm getting almost professional. You'd think I like doing this, wouldn't you? So here it is, and it's paper piece. Now, I will tell you, the hardest part is cutting everything out. It took me 2 weeks to cut it out because she wanted each of these pieces to be cut to a certain specific size, but oh, deer in the headlight, look, Melissa's going, you know how long ago that was? And I have moved, and I've got a little farm thing going on. I'm getting eggs, and you want me to remember a pattern designer? I mean, come on. Is that kind of like it, Melissa? So, anyway, it's called Beach Cottages, and these are all paper-pieced items. When I taught this at my local quilt shop, I did it over 7 months. Because this is not let's get together this weekend and make this kind of quilt. No way. But paper piecing makes it real easy. And what we did is I told people start saving cute prints that have beachy type themes going. So that's what we did. So, and what I ended up doing is trapunto work. This, I stuffed my beach balls, anything that had, in fact, I will show you that it's stuffed. because let's see, can you? But what I'm going to do, Mark put a longer cord on here. Michelle is here. Mark put a longer cord on the camera. So I took and cut out and appliqued all these. See, I even have a, whoop, you can't see it. There's a birdie up here. But I got little appliques you could purchase. I got cute little buttons. Let me get the camera and show you. Pardon me, I don't want to make anybody seasick. Lisa Capen, hello, hon. Wonderful. Well, thank you. It's called Beach Cottages. Now, let's see what we can see here. But I was telling you how I did trapunto work on this, or as they call stuff work. Can you see how there's dimension to the beach ball, dimension to these umbrellas, dimension to this life ring, and then I did thread work, curtains. I did, here is clamshell for the siding. Lisa, we're so glad you're here. And I was telling you about little appliques and little buttons. See this little fish button? So you wouldn't want to iron this. But, and then I could not find seagull fabric. So you know what I did? I printed out my own on inkjet printable paper. So here are some seagulls. Here is another seagull. I appliqued clouds on it. This is a paper piece tree that came with it. But then I bought this fabric and appliqued that. Appliqued all the little doodads. Appliqued these, the chairs, the lighthouses. Here's another one of my little buttons. That's a cutie thing. So I just decorated it and had a lot of fun. One thing I would tell you, though, is down here on this row, I tried to use different sky backgrounds just to jazz it up, but it made my palm trees kind of disappear. I tried to do some thread painting and all to put some pizzazz in them. And I even have, little glitter. Can you see this little, it's a glitter starfish button. I mean, I went on eBay and bought every beach themed button there was, a little sand dollar. And I had the best time. Here's another one of my little starfish glitter buttons. Here's a sun button here on this. There's one of my seagulls that I printed out myself. Here's another little, look at the pink flamingo button. But anyway, this is, children love this especially. Look at these little, whoops, get down to it, Deb. Look at these little flip-flop buttons. Aren't they precious? And now I'm going to pick it up a little. Hold on a second. I'm sorry if I'm jostling it around too much. I'm trying not to. And, oh, look at this. Sunglass button. Honest to goodness, I found sunglass buttons. But I had the best time. For me, this was like a craft project. Let me set this camera up. Pardon me, guys. Bear with me here. I'm trying. All right. Here we go. So what I did is I found this water with people swimming in it. But of course, I didn't want it just as it was. So I pieced it and pieced things over it. So, you know, if a little bit is good, I believe so much more is better. So, and here's the beach scene. Here's a sand castle. And I did some thread painting on my waves. But I had the best time with this quilt. I'm just showing you a few more things. Oh, found little buttons. That one was a little sand bucket, and here's a little sand pail and shovel. But didn't I have a good time? Appliqued surfboards on it. More swimmers. So I just had such a good time. And then I quilted it with a wave type quilting pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and push this back a little now. We'll get back in play. But this way you'll get to see it from a distance. Now that is my beach cottages quilt. Now I'm going to move the camera back as carefully as I can so I don't make you too nauseous. Okay. So, whoops, don't want you to see the light. All right. Anyway, so is that fun? So let's see what we've got. Your own brother spelled your name wrong. Shame, shame, shame. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry he had to move into a nursing home, but what a wonderful memento he has now. That's really lovely. Okay, let's see. Oh, well, I didn't even buy them from a store. I don't like shopping. And the only two places that I even get a little bit of enjoyment from are a hardware store and a fabric store. So I buy a lot on eBay. eBay to me is like having a big yard sale right in your own living room. So I searched. I kind of set up a year-long search for all of those things. So let's see. How long did it take to make the quilt? I was in no rush. I enjoyed the process. It took 2 years. And let me see. What I did is in the first year, I had the whole thing pieced. And because it was funny, we took a 2-day class as if. I think I got one tree paper pieced in the 2 days, 1 or 2 houses and a wave. But what I did, you can't really see it that good. Let me move it just a touch, okay, guys? Whoops. Okay, that might help a little. All right, so what I did is I pieced it the first year, and then I took all these appliques I found and cut them out, and with a little spot of white school glue, glued them where I knew I'd want them on the quilt top. I did all the applique over that winter and spring, and then I went ahead and put it together and quilted it because you can't sew buttons on until your quilting is done. And so then I quilted it, and then I sewed buttons on, and then I bound it. And altogether, it was about 2 years. But I'm so glad I finished it because it's just such a cutie pie. And I can take it anywhere, and people just love looking at it. So, but, okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. You know, they have a lot of these things in the button department. If you go into a store, also look for miniatures wherever they keep little miniatures. So, but it was, oh, thank you, Lisa. I hope, were you able to see them good enough or not? I don't know. I hope you were able to see it. The sunglasses, weren't they the cutest? I'm just like, oh my God, that is precious. So, I fell asleep last night trying to finish the editing of my latest video. And I do want to say I'm sorry. My muse for getting videos done kind of disappeared for a couple of weeks. And there was a lot going on. And then, you know, since September, we've had 2 hurricanes that affected my life, as if my life is any, you know, such a big importance. But I couldn't go camping the first time, and that was important. But so anyway, I'm off Oh, thanks, Diane. I'm glad you could see them. So I'm kind of off kilter, but I promise I will get back to it. I worry because we had a momentum going, and if I start looking at all untrustworthy, people will just tune me out. So I don't want to do that. But and I've been doing the retreat, and so we're now back up to 35 attendees, and I think I'm just about done with all of my prep work. It's a lot of work, and so I'm getting there. Michelle, yes, Michelle's asking about damage from the quilt. We had more flooding than I've ever seen. Since I've lived here, we've never had this much rain. We had 4.5 inches at least, and just during the daylight hours. It was so heavy. The rain was so heavy you couldn't see anything. Michelle, the silt pond across the street was flooded over 3 feet taller than the edges of the silt pond. So all the trees across the street were part of the pond. And it unfortunately messed up part of the dam system in between the silt pond and the lake. So we had a couple branches come down. But luckily, and we had a little bit of, just a little bit of dampness come in through the foundation in the garage. But Miss Cooper Dadain, had a tree fall over on her fence and a tree fall, but luckily missed her car on the driveway. But there was a lot of flooding here. In fact, Becky teaches at Glenn High School, and one of their buildings flooded. And the school system didn't close or not open in Forsyth. They kept it open. And due to that, some children had to walk home during the tropical storm. And some kids on the bus, it took them hours to get home. So school system took a punch in the nose for that one. But we're very lucky. Compared to the panhandle of Florida, we're okay. We are okay. But I don't, like, it was just weird that parking lots and streets that normally don't flood, where I come in, okay, Michelle, the Yadkinville, Ronaldo Road intersection down by the swamp? It was all underwater. I went out Friday to mail Diane 57's package, and all of Robin Hood Road, the main business area, no power. We had 33,000 people run out of power, but then, so anyway, it put a hold on one of your comments, Michelle, but I think we're big girls. We can handle her. Yeah, the school system, they got hit rightfully for that call. Davidson County, all those counties went, no, we're not sending our kids out in this. But it was huge. It was a lot of rain. And I think, did y'all have much? I think the rain went right up through y'all too. And now they say it's going to hit England and the northern European range. But so they closed your facility. Yeah, see, I mean, it just didn't make any sense. And I think we've got to come to grips that we are going to have these kind of storms, and we have to learn how to be reasonable people and not put our little children at risk. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And I know they're in a tough bind. You've got most parents working. Can't send a child home to an empty house, but there's got to be a way they work this out. So anyway, I've got, you live close to Houston in Texas. Oh, yes. Oh, Diane, I'm sorry. It is scary when a tree falls on your house. And I've been through numerous hurricanes in my life. And luckily, I've had them brush the house when they fall, but never actually damage the house. And I felt very lucky. Well, hi, Lisa Cape and Quilts. I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I was born in Virginia. I was born in Norfolk, raised in Virginia Beach, and lived in Maryland for 21 years, and have lived now here in North Carolina for nearly 15. Love it. Don't plan to leave it. And although sometimes I think about going to Canada, that's all I'm going to say about that. But love it here in North Carolina. I think it's beautiful. There are lots of colleges, top name colleges, medical facilities. I love the pine trees. I love my lake, Carr Lake, that's just north of Durham. And I've been camping on that lake since I was about 4 years old. So I tell you what, after that hurricane hit Houston, I've had a whole new respect for hurricanes. And I said, they're nothing to mess with. And because of, and I'm going to say it out loud, because of climate change, we're going to get these powerful storms. Because anytime you have the warming oceans and the warming air, you're going to, that just feeds energy. I mean, this is basic science, folks. So we need to pay attention to them. Yeah. Now, you live in DeKalb, Illinois. I want to know why you were so cold yesterday. Bonnie wrote me an email. It was like 35 or 40, 45. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh. You're in Hampton. Daughter lives in Virginia Beach. Okay, you ready for this? I graduated from Princess Anne High School in Virginia Beach, 1974. Oh, my God, I just told you how old I am. I am 62 years old and proud of it. I have survived. So, yeah, that is so cool. Yep, I was born in what was called Norfolk General Hospital that I think is now called Centara. And the husband's in the Air Force. God bless the military. Virginia Beach is a military city. And that's how I knew, as much as I admired the military, I couldn't marry into one, because going to school with all those military kids, I saw how much the military demands of the entire family. It was so hard. These kids never had birthdays, graduations, holidays with their dads, because they were always shipped out, flying out. So I have an utmost of respect. I knew I couldn't handle that kind of lifestyle. I just got through going to see, what is the latest space movie that just opened Friday? It's with Ryan Gosling. I tried to remember the name upstairs and I couldn't remember it, but it's something like First Man, and because he was the first man to step on the moon. And I watched, in that movie, it brought back memories of what these people went through. And the wives were just as big a heroes as those husbands. Let me tell you, he didn't even tell his wife, okay, I'm going to the moon. He finally told her that, but he didn't tell her he had to then be in quarantine for almost a month. So he kind of like would forget to tell her these things, I guess. But First Man, yes. And it was amazing. And I tell you what, the bravery and the dedication in our military is unbelievable. And so my hat is off to them. And I was smart enough to know that I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. But now, I was wondering, is he a pilot? Does he fly, or is he shipboard? Absolutely, blessings to them. And high 50s, Bonnie. Woo! You know, it's so funny. I said about a year and a half ago, I'm moving to Canada, but I'm not sure I can handle that cold either. So I don't like the hot, but I don't like cold. Your son, 7 tours. My God. Sends chills down my spine. That is amazing. And we will keep these dear people in our thoughts. So, but Virginia Beach is a huge military city. Between being military city and then being a tourist city, I used to bring home people. I met some French Canadians, and I met some Iranians, and I met people from everywhere, and I would just kind of bring them home. It's like, hey, want to feed them a Southern dinner and just show them what America's about? Let me tell you what, moving to the South is cheaper. Michelle can tell you that. Moving back up north for her meant huge heating bills, but she had a good reason. 3 beautiful grandchildren. So I try not to still, cry when I think of Michelle leaving me. So, yeah, I think that's kind of how living in such a city of transient nature, I just kind of learned to befriend people of all different types and ways of life and thoughts. It was kind of a neat way to be raised, honestly. Oh, yes. I understand that. We had a lot of that. In Maryland, we lived there because my husband at the time was Civil Service Defense Department. And so we were attached to the Patuxent River Naval Air Station. And that's not too far from all of those little facilities around the Beltway that keep everything quiet. So, although some of these guys, I can't tell you what I do, I'd have to kill you. Some of them kind of exaggerated that. Trust me, I know of one who did. It's like, oh, please. So, 120. Now, when you live down here, you have a high electric bill. But you have a high electric bill only in the summer, if you choose to use air conditioning, which I do. So, Michelle, you can tell them about your heating bills. I mean, I watched This Old House for 30 years, and oh my gosh, they talk about the heating bills, like oil, if you have oil and you live up in the Northeast. So, and my water bill went up the other day. I opened it, and it went up $40 for 2 months. They said, it was a rate increase. I told Mark, first thing we do, we're replacing these old large toilets with nice efficiency toilets. And I water only my plants, although I did water a little bit of new grass seed, but I'm not a big water consumer, and I'm mad. Bonnie and I've been talking, and, we got to think about retirement and how we're going to do all of that. And so I was going to show you this. My daughter made me this big rice bag to heat up for my back and stuff, but my camera tends to be top heavy. So I cut off one of the little segments of her rice bag so I can use it to keep my camera from falling over. So thank you, Becky. I still have enough to kind of help my shoulders, so that's nice. So let's see what you're saying. My bird flew. What are you doing over there? Oh, she's just going all over the place. I'll let her wander around a little bit. Luckily, there are no dogs down here. Nor'easter storms. Oh, boy. 50 degrees. So what month do you come to Maine if you want to not have to wear a coat? Because I told Mark, I said, during the hot summers, we're going up north. Oh, that's smart about the rice bags for your wrist. Yeah, see, I've had my carpal tunnel surgery. He did a really good job. Just see, right there. In fact, Michelle's the one that took me to the hospital when I had my carpal tunnel surgery. She can tell you what I'm like when I'm all dopey on meds. Oh, it's awful. Late June. Okay, so Mark, we're headed to Maine in late June. All right. because it's so beautiful up there from things I've seen. You sew barefoot and use a rice bag under your heel. Now, aren't you smart? Aren't you smart? I love talking because we learn so much. How can you, Bonnie? You are shame on you. But Michelle, we were wanting you to. You saw me. You took me to this hand. Took me to the hospital when I had my carpal tunnel surgery, and you were supposed to give the dope on how I act when I'm under drugs. But you're right. It's kind of, I just get a little more this way. I told Mark, this is why I don't drink. Oh, can you imagine me drinking? It's just too much. So I've told him I have a plenty. Oh, there's Mark. I have a plenty of good time without drinking. Do not need to drink. So, all right. And Mark he watched the live stream last week. So I wanted to, you're right, I did. And when you get this carpal tunnel surgery done, you're not supposed to use the hand at all. And I kept wanting to pull up my own pants. And Michelle's like, Deb, stop. I'm helping you. I tell you what, Michelle was way too good of a friend. Way too good of a friend. I miss her terribly. So, I couldn't talk straight. I came home, went to sleep, and that's all I remember. But, so do you want to see my latest little creation? I am going to have the video finished today. I will not fall asleep on it again, but I'll have it up today. But you ready? This is, oh man, I forgot to check. We All Sew site, and it was designed by Brubaker Knapp. What's her first name? Karen? Kathy? I can't. Now, you know what? I had enough sleep last night. This is getting ridiculous. So, Susan Brubaker Knapp. Thank you. And so, it's my favorite Halloween thing, candy corn. So, here it is. Now, the center was supposed to just be a black square, and maybe you could set a little pumpkin on it or a little candle. Well, this is what I ended up doing with it. And it's a little stuff work. And so what I did is I left open a little slot in the orange pumpkin when I put it on, and then pushed a little stuffing up in there, and then finished sewing the seam, and then sewed the little creases in the pumpkin. So this is a cutie. And let's see what you can't get stabilizer out of your sewing this morning, huh? Stabilizer. Okay. Oh, honey, I'm not good drunk. You know. Yeah, I've only been tipsy twice in my life, and that was more than enough. Well, 3 times. One time I danced on a table. You don't. No. You don't want to see that. Okay, stabilizer. So is it like paper piecing kind of where you have to you can pull it off the back, or is it in between layers? If it's a heatable stabilizer, heat it and then try to pull it out. But I know. Bonnie, you're a mess. You know all my secrets. How can you do that? Where is that bird? Birdie. Kiwi. Anyway, I did want you to see Kiwi and to see that she's doing much better. So I'm tickled. Tearaway. Okay. That is a good. Who are any of you embroiderers? because they'd be the best to know. Well, I can't tell whether, no, that's too much. Okay, I'm trying to get my lighting straight here. I don't know. What kind of lighting doesn't show wrinkles? I don't think there is one. Yeah, probably tweezers. Boy, I wish I knew more about stabilizers. I've worked with water-soluble stabilizers. Yeah, that's one thing I was wondering. Is it will it soften it a little bit when you wet it or not? Magic lighting? Oh, yes, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Today, I'm looking all of my 62 years. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the stabilizers are a real pain. And, you know, they're expensive, too. But when I've ever used a stabilizer, I cut off the excess and call it good. So, all right. Now, our topic of the day. Does anyone remember what our topic of the day was? Yeah, I think we learned to just leave what little bits in there and, oh, Patty, you're so cute. Leave it, that little bit in there and not worry about it. It's not good to wear a black shirt in a sewing room because you see everything on it. Oh, well. I thought it would make me look slender today. I'm not sure it works. A tea towel. Oh, that's so neat. Yeah, you kind of don't want it showing on the back of a tea towel, do you? Well, y'all need to come to her aid because I don't know much about machine embroidery. I've never done any. So, today's topic is trapunto. And I want to make sure that Michelle gets help. My chat keeps flickering in and out. And tonight for dinner, we're having tacos. I don't know why, but I've had a real hankering for some tacos. So I told Mark, I said, we're either getting Mexican and bring it in, or we're going to make our own tacos. So he's going to go get us an avocado and some queso dip and some salsa. I don't know why the chatting keeps... Saddlebags is back from Erie, Pennsylvania. Yay, girlfriend. Oh, yeah, I would never use black sheets on my bed. I understand. There's things you just don't want to see. Okay. Try to wash away the stabilizer that's sticky and then... Oh, you had a quilt show, Saddleback's Bayfront Convention Center here in Erie. Oh, neat. Oh, I'm so glad the weather was good. Don't you love it when stuff works out? Melissa, sorry. Oh, I told Mark just to get a small pack of hamburger. Otherwise, I'd let Cooper come over and eat all the tacos he wanted. He's so cute. You're totally inspired. Doesn't going to a quilt show inspire you? And, you know, it's good for me to look at the quilts, too, so I stay away from the vendors. But, oh, gosh, I've got to tell you, I found the cutest fabric the other day for my son and his wife, who I can now officially say that they're going to have a baby. And it's going to be in March. and I'm very excited, and all their tests came back great, and she hasn't had a bit of nausea. She's been a little tired. Is that, I said, well, hey, she does so good, y'all could have 10. He goes, no, don't go there. So, but I'm really happy for them. So the fabric I found is, what is the name? Oh, okay. I'm going to type it in. Let's see how I do. It's something like Timeless. It's by Timeless Treasures. And I think it's something like Cricket Picnic or something. Oh my gosh. It is so cute. And the colors are real subtle. Celery and mist. And oh, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I tell you what. I hate to call you Saddle, hon. I forgot. Do you mind? Is there some little nickname or something we can call you by? Because I hate to call you Saddlebags. You know, I never had a problem with saddlebags. I have a problem with the apple. So, oh, that's great, Diana. That's wonderful, Diane. I am very excited because this is my first grandchild for my son. My first daughter has 2 grandchildren. My second daughter has married into 2 children, and then now my son's going to have a child. So I'm excited. So, but anyway, I told Mark, I put an order in. In fact, I ordered it from Hancock's of Paducah. And if any of you want a good company to deal with, they were wonderful. I ordered the fabric, click confirm, and then it said, oh, would you like to continue to shop? Well, I should have not clicked yes, because then I went in and in their clearance, which, you know, anytime it's on sale, that interests me. And they had the cutest Hakuna Matata fabric, and it was these cute little elephants all holding each other's, their trunk, using their trunk to hold the other one's tail, walking in a line. Cutest pale colors. And so I said, oh, that'd be great backing. So I called them on the phone, and I had placed the order online. I said, is there any way, being cheap, yes, I am, is there any way I can add 4 yards of this for backing to the quilt fabric? And she was so nice. And of course, this is 10 minutes to 5 on a Friday afternoon. And she said, sure. And so she canceled the other order, put the new one in, and I didn't have to pay shipping again, neither time. So anyway, but I found that the Timeless Treasures, it's a pretty new line, and their prices were like between $7.99 and $9.99. So I said, sounds good to me. I'll take it. So I was pleased. So that's Hancock's of Paducah, because I guess y'all know the other Hancock's closed. And I had one right down the street, and it closed, and I miss it. So I didn't really buy much fabric there, but if I ran out of thread, if I needed some little notion, it was nice. So today's topic is trapunto. Trapunto is an Italian word that means embroider. And trapunto has been around since the 14th century. Long time, ladies. And that would be the 1300s in English. And so it's also referred to as stuff work or stuffed work. You use an underlining, which for us, a good, lightweight, cheap fabric muslin is good. And then you've got your main fabric. And the old way that it was done is you would draw, actually, this is my good fabric, and this is the cheap muslin. See, you can kind of see through it, and, well, I don't know if you can see through it, but anyway, I can see through it. And this is my good fabric. And so you use something that, the marker will come out, and you draw whatever pattern it is on it, and then you put your batting behind the fabric. Then you can stitch around it to secure it, basting, whatever. Use water-soluble thread. That's always a good one. And then when you've got the little area that you want raised sewn around, you trim off the extra batting that you don't need. So then and remember I told you could also use yarn? Well, I've got some yarns here. Now, if you went through a white fabric, this might be right pretty to show through the white fabric. Or a deeper color would show through even better. Or you can use an off-white or white. And it's just a matter of making areas have good shape. Oh, honey, I'm sorry about. Michelle said that she went to Joann's and, oh no, I pushed the wrong button, so her post can't come through, but she was treated terribly at Joann's today. Okay, so let's show you. I'm worried my bird is under me. I don't know where she is, though. Birdie. Bird. I tell you what, guys. Let me find the bird, and I'll be right back. And here, instead of putting the lens cover on, I'll just give you this to look at. Kiwi. 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 Where's Kiwi? Well, I don't see her. Kiwi. 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 Huh. Oh, well. Hello, hello, hello. I have no idea where she went. So right now there's a few things down on the floor. So anyway, I'm going to show you this. And I've got a very large needle that you can use for trapunto work. And this is if, like, let's say you wanted to make a narrow little winding band or border, you could take and run your yarn, put your yarn in this large eye and run it through the fabric and then out and trim it off so just the yarn's left under the fabric. But, so I don't know if you've ever, I remember hearing people say they were doing stuff work, and that is trapunto. So, let me see if I can turn this down. Yes. Okay. Yeah, good. You don't have to change it, darling. All right, so I'm trying to think what I should draw down here that I want to do. Okay, well, let's say, Oh, I'm good at that. I'm really good at stuffed mushrooms, let me tell you. All right. So what kind of design? All right. Well, let me just do a feather. I'm trying to draw over a notebook. You can't even see it. Hold on a second. Let me see. I'm doing a beautiful feather and you can't even see it. What happens is, if you don't use these pens, they don't last forever. Oh, here we go. This purple's working a little better. Let me try to close in on it. Oops. Now don't do this. All right. Oops. Okay, let's see. So I'm just going to kind of draw around. See how I've kind of done a feather here? And these are all water-soluble markers, so that means they should come out. All right. And I'm going to end up doing a little design in each one. Okay. All right, so I've drawn. Well, now I got to move back. All right, so it's really hard to see, isn't it? But I've drawn a feather, and I'm sorry it's so hard to see. All right, so, and remember I talked about using a couple layers of batting? Well, that's what I read about too. And you can even use polyfill like stuffing, but you want it to be a little easy to manage. So I'm going to cut some of this. Sorry, I'm at an odd angle trying to use these scissors that are gummed up. All right. Boy, this is as much fun as watching paint dry. Okay, there's one piece. Let me cut another one real quick. And this is a high loft polyester. And let me tell you, anymore, I enjoy quilting on polyester. It is made so much better than the old days. And it is made so much better. And I love the loft because it, you know, when you get to the point where, thank goodness, I'm a little better at my quilting, then you want it to show. So I've got to see where my design, my pattern's coming from. Okay, so I lay this here. Look at that. Nice, two big fluffy areas. All right. Then I place, and this is not the backing. This is just an inner lining because you have to have something to quilt against. It's that resistance that gives you the puffiness. So now I turn it, make sure my stuffing is going to be in this area. Then inside where I don't run over the pins, I'm going to place inside and outside of the outline, I'm going to place pins. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm pin basting before I get ready, because you want to make sure that on the other side you don't have any puckers. See, make sure it's all smooth. Pin just came out. Let me grab it. I should have pin basted with safety pins. I just didn't have any out yet. Another pin inside here. All right. Now, I'm getting ready to change my thread color. I want a nice little silver instead of the dark gray I had on there. Okay. You do know to peel off the paper stickers on the top and bottom of threads. And the reason you do this, I had a sewing machine repairman fuss at me once about this. Because what ends up happening if you don't peel these stickers off is the stickiness on the stickers will glom up the thread spool that you put this on. And if that spool becomes sticky or glommed, it'll tend to catch the spool and you'll get uneven tension. So let me bring this back up. Hello. All right. So let me see. I want to, if I get a new camera, I'm going to get one that has a remote control so I can, from a distance, just very easily click, click, and have the camera go up and down, change positions. So, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Because I do this for fun. I don't get paid. This is my playtime. All done. Now I got to thread the needle. Isn't this fun? Boy, these glasses must not be good. You know, if I paid more than $1 for glasses, maybe I could complain. Huh. Come on, Deb. When in doubt, trim the end of it. Okay. Yay. When in doubt, it worked. All right. So now what I'm going to do, just to recap, I've got the front that I've drawn the design on. I've got 2 layers of polyester batting and a thin muslin cheap backing. So, because that backing is going to eventually be encased with a real backing. So you don't want to spend much money. You just need something. All right. Now I'm going to, boy, the water-soluble pens I used, they're disappearing because of the humidity. I better hurry up and get this done. Okay. So now I'm going to put a long stitch way up to 4.5 or 5. Nice long basting stitch. Let me see if I can get this in a better place. Hold on. All right. 4.5 or 5. Let's see. And I'm just basting around the outside edges. That's not a basting stitch. Well, I don't know. Maybe the batting is so thick that it's not allowing the it's not allowing the fabric to move smoothly, so it's giving it a small looking stitch. All right, here we go. Well, you know what they say, it's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. Hold on, guys. Live video is so much fun. Okay, hold on just a second. I will be back there. Let me just put some more. But I love that saying. It's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. That's why when you go to a retreat, fill your bobbins. Okay. All righty, let me get this. Just about got it. All right, back to this outline stitching. And feel free, just carry on your conversations, love. Oh boy, I've tied a few quilts in my lifetime. Okay, here we go. All right. Some of these threads are getting tangled around the needle here. All right, now back up here. Why are these threads? Ugh. Okay. I got threads going everywhere here. What is this about? All right, so I'm outlining, then turn around, go back around this way. That bobbin ran out too. Okay. Let me, hold on just a second. Aha! I found the offending. I'm having a lot of fun here. I have gotten everything all tangled up. Okay, I will be back, and wouldn't you know, today I was on time, everything going beautifully, and then I would have these technical issues here. But such is life. I'm not immune to anything else that happens. In fact, if anything, I have more of this happening. All right, so now I've got a full bobbin. All right, let's see what I've got. I'm outline stitching. And the reason you do basting around the outside of this design is so that you can take it back out when you're done. What this basting is for is just keeping the batting in place for the areas that you need that extra puffiness. So, just about done. Let me get some of these pins out of the way. They've done their job. All right. I'm going to do a big leaf pattern here. All right. So now that I'm done with this outline stitching, this is what you're going to do. And I feel for you, Michelle, because I'm going to be doing the same type of thing. So what you do now is you pull back your, this is the front, and I'm going to try to do it this way. A lot of times they will tell you to go back through the cheap part, but I'm too afraid I'll accidentally cut the good. So if I'm on the good part, what I'm going to do you cut away the excess batting. Save it for picking up threads off a floor, stuffing toys for grandkids, whatever. It does waste. And see, this is where I'm so afraid. If you cut through the front, then you've got to start all over again. So it doesn't matter if you cut through the little cheap backing fabric. And you know that cheap little thin weight fabric is going to be encased in between the final result. But can you tell I'm just going in carefully, using my fingers to protect the fabric and cutting away. Now there's another way to do it too. Like let's say if you wanted to make a little mushroom shape, you could cut a mushroom out of your batting. So I'm going to show you that right. You could cut a little mushroom shape. You could cut a little mushroom shape like this. Whoops, like this. And then glue it to the back side of your fabric, and then just stitch around the edge that way to hold it in place. But anyway, I'm cutting off this excess batting. I'll show you what you end up with. I do not want to cut any of this fabric. This is nerve-wracking. It's probably why I don't do a lot of it, but I do some. And if you didn't want to do it this way, you could actually, in fact, while I'm cutting this out, I'll talk to you about it. You could just sew the cheap underlayment fabric, sew that around the design, whatever pattern, and then make a little slit in the cheap back fabric and shove your stuffing in. And then if you wanted to be very special, you could slip stitch the backing fabric back up, and that way you could use polyfill, the stuffing, to fill out your shapes. And I did a form of that when I stuffed my cute little pumpkin on that Halloween wall hanging. Because I just left an edge open, shoved some stuffing in, finish sewing up the edge, then spread the stuffing out evenly. Okay, I'm almost done with this. Maybe I should have just done something very small. But that's why normally I do this stuff in videos instead of on our live stream, but we'll see. We can try it this way this time, change it for next time. All right, so I cut all that stuffing out, all that batting. Okay. Anybody know what batting is called in England and in Australia? Anybody know? I do need smaller scissors. I was afraid I have these real sharp snips. I was afraid I would cut. I have these. Whoops. This lighting cord is getting in my way. I have these, but I was afraid that I might cut through the fabric. Wadding, Bonnie got the answer. Batting is called wadding in England and Australia. Excellent. So, in fact, you know what? Look what I just did with those little snips. I accidentally did a little cut of the fabric right there. So that's why I didn't use them. Okay. So now, do you see here that, see how flat, this is flat and this is still all puffed up. And so then, then what you would do is take a piece of traditional cotton batting. Did you know there's a right side and a wrong side of batting? And yes, there is. Okay. This batting is made by a bunch of cotton fibers that are placed on a work table, and then a scrim is sprayed over one side, and that scrim holds the batting together so it doesn't come apart. And see how this side is rather smooth? That's the scrim side. Sometimes with cheaper batting, you can feel it's rough. Now see how this side is lumpy bumpy? That's the needled side or the right side. And the reason you say there's a right side and a wrong side to batting is because you want your needle to go in the non-scrim side first, because it will help protect your thread from fraying and being damaged. And because it hits this first and goes through. So here is, this is the top or the good side of this. Now I layer it. I think I heard a bird. Where is she? I thought I heard her. Hold on, guys. I'm just put this up. All right. Here's another piece of, I was going to tell y'all too, I tear my fabrics, and that's usually a point of contention. Do you tear or not? And if it is a natural fiber, cotton or linen, it will tear perfectly on the grain, which is a nice way to get, it's a very, very nice way to get a very straight cut or line on your fabric. Back when I worked with linens in the museum I worked at, I was taught this by one of my volunteers who had been sewing for 50 years. And she said, you know, to make these linen skirts, you really should tear the fabric so that you get a perfect hemline to work with. And I thought, oh, whatever. I was young and stupid. And so anyway, I just did a quick little mini press of the backing. So now what I'm going to do is lay it out smoothly. I hear my birdie. Come here, little bird. Where are you? Little birdie. Where are you? So, I got out some safety pins, I think. Okay. I know. I'm so worried I don't want to roll over her. It would be awful. All right. So I have rolled on my dog's tail before, so I don't want to do that. So now what I'm going to do is I've got the top that had the outline drawn on it. I've cut away all of the stuffing, the batting. Then I put a new piece of cotton batting in, and now I'm going to pin baste it again. This time I'm using safety pins. And I'm just making sure all my layers are smooth. Always checking the back. Normally what I do when I baste a quilt, and I'm not using the frame, is I take and tape the backing to a large table or floor so that you can make sure that your backing is perfectly smooth and taut. Then you lay the batting on top of that. And you know, the backing is pretty side down. Then you lay the batting on top of that, and then you lay the top and smooth it best you can. But since the backing has been taped or clamped to the table, you know that it's going to stay smooth and taut. And so you work on smoothing out your batting and smoothing out the top. And let me tell you, if you try to rush that, you are going to ruin your quilt, because think about having it all think about having all that quilting done, and then you find a pucker. Too late now. I mean, I've heard of people who take out all of the quilting. I almost think I'd rather make a new quilt. So here we go. Now it's all pin basted, and I can put a pin in the middle, but it's pretty stabilized because of the trapunto, what I've already done with the trapunto. Okay. All righty. Now, you're probably getting bored of this, but I do want to be able to show you. Let me move this camera just a moment, love. And if I put it over here, I might get it to work better. All right. This is better. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, reach under and drop my feed dogs down. All right, feed dogs are dropped down. So now I can do free motion quilting. And what I'm going to do is show you the difference. The first thing I'm going to do is just do some echo quilting. I'm going to do some echo quilting around the design. Okay. The machine is trying to tell me, hello, you don't have your feed dogs down. All right. I'm just echo quilting around this design. I wish I had my gloves, my quilt machiniger gloves, because they really work good. This is hard on your hands if you don't have something to hold tightly to. I just quilted a pucker in. I'm glad this is just a demo. Okay, so now what I did is I just did 2 echoes around the design. Okay, now to show you the difference, I'm going to start doing a little work in the designs. And I'm very happy for y'all to keep talking, because, chatting amongst yourself, because this can be a little bit boring. I do understand that. I'm going to bring my feed dogs up about halfway. I found it made it too hard to push that through. So now what I'm going to do is come in and do some quilting within the trapunto to kind of show you the difference, and it will stand out from the areas where it just has the regular batting. Okay. Now I'm going to come on down this way. All right. So I'm hoping you're starting to see the definition show up. And this is the beauty of trapunto. And now just on the other side, and doing the feather design. All right. You can see why I prefer my frame. This is a lot of work. I guess it's all in what you're used to, but I'm not used to this. Although I do want to try to do the Angela Walters domestic machine quilting. All right. All right, let's see if you can see what I'm talking about. Let me do one more. Uh-oh. Make sure you don't, you haven't caught the fabric in the back of it. Okay. Now, let me do one more little thing just to give you a little bit more of an idea. Hold on just a second. I will do this quickly so we can move on. Because I can't sit and just chat when I'm busy like this. Okay. Better get this pin out. It's going to get me trapped. All right. Oh, hold on. All right. All righty. Okay, I think that's enough. Turn this off. Done with it today. All right, so what I've done, let me explain to you why I've done what I've done. Sorry to do all this work, but I wanted to show what makes Trapunto different than regular batting and quilting. Well, what it is, it's extra batting. Now, some people say they prefer wool for their Trapunto, and that's fine if you prefer wool. You can use whatever you wish. It's your quilt. You're the one doing the work. And I'm going to ask you to forgive me because this is not my best work, but I was in a big hurry and very worried that y'all were getting horribly bored, and I didn't want to lose you. So, let me see. Whoops. Oh, back up. Okay. Here we go. Let me show you now why this is why I did all of this. Now you know why on shows they have samples, examples, and then the real one. But I did this quilting out and around here to show you how much less loft there is out here. And what it does is it makes this feathered part really pop out. So, in fact, you can see, look, when I lay it this way, see how much fuller. Now, this is just a leaf here, but here's the feathering. But you can see how much fuller it is than the surrounding area. And so, especially if you did a lot of close-up quilting, it would really emphasize, and this design then pops forward. Does that make any sense? I'm hoping it makes sense to you. You can see more of the threads under here because I used a darker bobbin. But this is Trapunto. And then I will show you one more thing. And then we'll just chat. What did I do with that large needle? Here it is. Okay. And you can buy actual Trapunto needles. And the reason I'm using this is because some people do Trapunto as a way of adding color. Now, what I recommend, in fact, you know what? Since I'm going to poke a little hole, I'm going to, well, I've already sewn that pretty good. Oh, I'm just going to come in through the back. All I'm doing is I'm trying not to rip the fabric, but just kind of widen the hole. I hope you could see that. And then I put my needle in through that. There, see? Because you think, gosh, that's a thick needle and it's not very sharp. Well, you don't want to rip up your fabric. You're just trying to get this yarn placed. So what I'm doing is I've got the needle going in, and I'm going to try to work my way past. I might have to do it from the top, but I'm trying to work in through the batting to the other side. But I think the cotton batting's kind of getting in my way. All right, I'm going to do it through the other side. So I don't want to rip the fabric. I'm going to take this, place it in, and just kind of wiggle it to make more space. Yeah, exactly. You kind of feed it in like you're doing elastic. Great, Bonnie. All right, so see how I did? And I have stretched open the hole. But now you remember, if you get spots on a quilt where you took out stitches and the needle marks are there, if you spray a light mist, a hot iron, it'll cause the fabric to shrink back up. So now I've got this needle going in under the fabric. And I'm going to have it come in around here. Then I need to make a place for it to come out. So I'm coming in here carefully and, ouch, now that didn't feel good. Come in here carefully and widen the hole. And then find it with the needle and come out through that. There we go. All right. All right, now I pulled the yarn through. I was hoping it was going to show, but this fabric I've got, this heavy fabric, it's not even showing. But you can see where, because of the yarn that's in there, and you could even get a heavier yarn, but it gives you now a little extra definition right there. So you can use this yarn as Trapunto work. And this is how I would finish off this area. I would come in here and cut this, okay? Then just come back with this without tearing the fabric and just kind of scrunch up that hole. Get rid of, don't worry, this is just a thread from down here. It's not from, I did not rip any of these threads. Okay. Then what I would do is pull this up just a little. Be careful because you don't want to pull it out, and trim it. And then I would come back with the tip of the seam ripper, make sure that that thread is buried under, give it a little scratch with my fingernail. Now, hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. Now, bring my spray bottle. Spray the little, well, not that much, but spray the little holes. And come in and press it. And because it's wet, you can actually, because it's wet, you can see the yarn under the fabric, but when it dries, you won't be able to see it. And the wetness will make that marking pin go away. So, But anyway, the whole reason I was sprayed it wet and pressed it was to show you that the holes will just close right back up. So that's how you would do it if you did it with yarn or other kinds of fiber. And as I said, if you wanted to add color to a quilt, that's a great way to do it. In fact, since the back is so thin, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to try to run some of this beautiful pastel yarn through the back and see. It's nice and thick. So let's see what we can do with this. That seam ripper did catch me. Who does your yarn shift when you wash it? It could, but I have a feeling something that's trapuntoed, you're not going to be wanting to wash a whole lot anyway. So you just kind of have to decide, you know, and you could make sure you put it in a certain cavity that it can't go but so far. So this is that real thin, look, see how you can see through it? Let me see if I can get this yarn to show up on this side. It is kind of pale, but let's see. I will run it right through here. Yeah, I was trying to see if I could just use, oh, there we go. I got it to go in. You have to kind of work that big old needle all the way in and around, back out. And I know it looks weird using this big of a needle. You think, what in the world? But trust me, this is what you want. You need a big eye. Pardon me. You need a big eye to get the yarn in. And then you don't want to tear the fabric, but just move it aside. Whew, that eye is tough to get out. Okay. Oh, it's working. Wait till you see it. Okay. So now let me stretch it. Have you seen people do this method? I've seen it on different shows where they take a white, more thin background and then run the threads through by trapunto to give it color, to give the quilt color. But you got to be careful that you don't cut. When you cut off the yarns, do not cut the fabric. But look at this. It shows. Can you see the blue? It shows. So I have seen some beautiful quilts done with this. And that way you can have a white background and it's just a little hint of color coming through. So it actually works. But if you're going to do this kind of trapunto, make sure you use a nice thin fabric so that work will show through. But can you see this now? Yeah. Do you know how to get, I can tell you right now how to get blood stains out. Your own saliva, your own spit. We have enzymes in our saliva that break down the proteins in blood. So lick it and you can get the blood stains out. You can also use meat tenderizer, but don't use the spiced kind. But do you see the blue now on that? So you could really have a lot of fun doing something very subtle. And look what a worm. It created a tight little worm shape because I had 2 layers of that yarn in there. So this is trapunto, ladies. And where is the front? The front I did is drawing, so you're not able to see the yarn much through it, but it just gives definition. And then this, you can see the blue worm. So this gives you an example where it's real thin here, just a little bit of batting here, a little bit of batting here, but this is really pronounced. And you would take more time and do a more fluid shape. I was trying to do it fast and furious, so. Yeah, it has to be your own blood. Don't go licking other. So anyway, all right. Are there any more questions about trapunto? Remember, it's an Italian word that means embroider. It's a way to give definitions. It's a very inexpensive way to decorate fabric. So I'm going to move this back because I miss looking into your, well, I'm not really looking into your eyes, but I feel like I am. So let me move this back so I can say hi again. But sorry if that got a little boring. But I just thought there's no way to halfway show you. I couldn't figure it out. But just think of what kind of fibers that you could use in it, depending on the color and the texture, the thickness. So Trapunto needles, gluing a piece in a certain area. Like let's say you wanted to do a little pear on a fabric, outline it and give it dimension. I would take a couple layers of a nice high loft polyester batting and put a little spot of glue to hold it where you know you want your pear. You'll be able to feel it, or you can draw in a removable marker the pear shape, glue it right to the back of that, and then just start quilting it. So it's the quilting that really brings it out once you've done it. So I can put these aside. And but now you know, and remember, Trapunto has been around since the 1300s. So people had to find ways to decorate their clothing, batting, anything to kind of show that they had something fancy. So you're welcome. Can you type again on what side of the batting you want and the difference again? I absolutely will. All right. That is, I just noticed whether I put it on my frame or whether I'm especially doing it by hand. And it's not as important maybe nowadays because batting has been needled. And when you see that on the packaging, actually, believe it or not, I was using my 1/4-inch foot, but I would just use a nice flat all-purpose foot. And in fact, you know, they have some of these Teflon feet, so it kind of helps everything just free motion move easily. But I was just doing it in the rough. So, okay, here is the batting. This is white cotton. It's a bleached cotton. And this is the warm and natural. That's the kind I usually use because I buy it by the bolt. Here's the natural color, or I guess one's warm and white and one's warm and natural. Okay, now they have on the batting, see the chunky side, and all those are created by the little needling. They have a machine with rollers with bunches of needles that roll over the cotton and kind of felt it in a very simple, easy, quick way. And by needling it, it makes it easier for you to stitch through it. And on the other side, because understand you have a bunch of short fibers. It's not woven. It's just felted, smashed together. So how do you hold the batting together? Well, on the back side, they spray a resin over it. And it comes out like a spider web. And it bonds all of these cotton fibers together. So, can you see this side it doesn't look bumpy and pebbly. It looks smoother. That's where the resin is sprayed over. And you don't want your needle hitting the resin first. So you sew with the pebbly side up. And that way, when your needle hits this, it goes in smoother. And that soft batting on the top helps protect the thread from the scrim underneath. And have you ever seen cheap batting that has this nasty scrim? You don't want to use that anyway. But so just put your pebbly surface up so that when you're and when I mean up, I mean touching the back of the top that you've pieced, so that think about when you're quilting it, your needle hits the pebbly side first. Because if you saw the smooth side, you'd think, oh, that's what I want. No, you want the pebbly. You want the nice and needled, and there's nothing to get in the way of your needle going through. So does that make sense? Does that make sense for you? So, and I'm going to be doing a craft, a make it, take it. I love make it, take it. I'm a little kid at heart. And yeah, exactly, diagonal rows. And I'm going to be doing a make it, take it, where I take all my batting scraps and cut them into little 1.5 inch squares. And then Mark found some wire for me, and people are going to take and run the wire through the center of the batting squares. It makes the cutest little wreath. And I ordered some things off of eBay from China, little wooden buttons that have like Santas and reindeer and all this little stuff that they can then hot glue to this little batting wreath. And I love using scraps, using stuff you'd normally throw away. So that's my kind of thing. So, and then I ordered a bunch of ribbons. So we'll be able to tie a ribbon on the top, and they can take a little ornament home to remember the retreat by. So we've got 2 make it, take it's, because Carol Hodges, who's our amazing embroiderer, she's going to do a make it, take it too. She hasn't decided, narrowed it down yet. I mean, oh my gosh, I love this kind of stuff. I could craft all day long. I love it. So now I'm going to try to catch up with what you've been saying. I've talked enough. Okay. Yeah, and see, talking about the blood sticks, that's a good thing to talk about. Because I take baby aspirin, which is a blood thinner that, they believe can help prevent a heart attack. And hey, I'll do it. And so it's just a good thing to remember that it's easy to get stuck, and, it can take a little while for you to stop bleeding if you're on blood thinner, any type. So anyway, let me see. Yes. So the thing with trapunto is the quilting that goes around the trapunto is what gives it the loft and makes it stand out. And we were talking earlier to Michelle about how she had stabilizer. Honestly, if you want to know a little truth, I should have stabilized the back of this pumpkin block, because it makes the rest of the quilt, it makes it kind of want to pucker. But I know that I'm going to quilt it very well, and that should then make it behave. But you kind of got to make it behave. But just interfacing, fusible interfacing on the back before I did the pumpkin would have been the best thing. But me, I am impatient. I want to get it done. In fact, if I don't get it quilted, it's going to hang on the wall just like that. We all enjoy it. Doesn't matter. Okay. So now I can see you, Miss Michelle. Let's see. Oh, hi, Mark.
Are you done?
We're on live.
Oh, hi, guys.
Hi. He actually waved to y'all. He's not so shy anymore.
I've never been shy.
No, he's not a shy person. He was into acting in his high school days. So, he's a ham. He is a ham.
I'm off to the store.
So, in fact, you should ask him to do the thing from Camelot, where it's, what is the king doing tonight? Oh, my God. I fell in love with him doing that one. He jumped up on his couch, and all of a sudden, what's the king doing tonight? And I'm like, Twitter-pated. My birdie came out. Hi. Hi, little guy. Come on. Oh. Okay. Do you want to see the little birdie? Oh, don't. It's okay. They're not going to hurt you. So this is my little Kiwi. And I just love her to bits. And she's getting her new tail. Ow, ow. I know. Those tail feathers are sore. So, but this is Kiwi. And I will put her now back on. I know. Go get something to eat and drink. That was so cute. Thank you, Diane57, for telling me don't roll around, because what happened is she came up and touched my foot. So, All right. So y'all got to see Miss Kiwi, but she is a lot of fun. And she still loves to go down in my shirt and take a nap. And it was cute. My son called me one day, last Monday, and she curled up in the corner of my arm and just went to sleep. I guess there's something about when you're talking on the phone, your voice gets kind of, I don't want to say monotonous, melodic. It just kind of settles down. She went right to sleep. So I'll be glad when those red tail feathers come back out. Okay, Sonia. Hi, Sonia. You love the quilt behind me. I will bring it right up. Hold on a second. You can tell I'm shy about showing the things I've actually finished. All right, here we go. Whoops. 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 Okay. This is called Patty, you're so funny. Yeah, Patty's husband's voice puts her to sleep. But I'm showing off that Mark put this rack together, clothing rack, and now I can hang quilts and just bring them all around. Let me bring this light over to show you. And I'm not going to move the camera or make anybody sick. But this is called Beach Cottages, and it was done by paper piecing. The waves were paper pieced. Each cottage was paper pieced. Oh, these cabanas were paper pieced. The palm trees were paper pieced. And what takes time with it is picking out how you want things done. And you notice they had planned each house to be on green grass. If any of you have ever lived near the beach, you know that grass doesn't grow. It's too sandy. So up top, I did half grass, half sand, and then the rest were all sand. And so, these are just little ways that Deb has to do it her own way. You know how I am. I got to tell you this. When I graduated high school, actually, I did too. When I graduated high school, they had a piece of paper that gave you all the rules and regs for graduation night. And the paper was written grammatically incorrect in this one sentence. And it said, the mortarboard and tassel shall be parallel to the ground. And nobody caught that mistake. So being a smartass that I am, I took and put a wire down through the tassel and invisible taped it. And I had my tassel coming off the mortarboard parallel to the ground. And the little old snotty woman who was in charge of 500 and some of us graduating that night saw my mortarboard and said, "What are you doing? Why is that tassel like that? Fix that tassel. Do it right." I said, "Ma'am," and I showed her the piece of paper, and I said, "I shouldn't graduate if I can't read and follow directions." I don't think she thought it was that funny, but they still let me graduate, thank goodness. So anyway, but I've got all kinds of buttons. See, here is a little clamshell button right there. And I've got applique work. And it took me about 2 years to do it, to finish it. And I did trapunto. Let me see. I don't know if you can see that this beach ball is rounded. And what I did is sewed it on, and at the last minute, put stuffing in it. But it's got a lot of applique work. And what I did is during the winter, I would take my cutout. I would cut out from fabrics. I collected fabrics with beach designs, cut it out, and I would put a little drop of glue and put it right where I wanted it. And then that way, I had my silk threads of all the neutral colors. And anytime I wanted to pick it up and applique something down, I would. And this has now become one of my favorites. And thank you to Melissa for reminding me to show this. But I found all kinds of little plastic or resin buttons off of eBay. I've even got somewhere a pair of sunglass buttons, flip-flop buttons, and it was just a whole lot of fun to do. A whole lot of fun. So you know that my beach town, if I had a beach town, it's going to be blinged out for sure. So that is, and if you look up beach cottages, you should be able to find that pattern. And I'll see if I can't write it down so that, oops, don't want to scare the birdie. I'll see if I can't put it down in when I edit. All right. So there it is. Oh, I know what I was supposed to show you. Oh my gosh, it's already 5 o'clock. Oh, I hope most of you are still here. Remember I told you that my daughter is a felt artist? Well, look at this. It's all wool. She raises sheep, but look at the work that my daughter did on this felted art. Isn't this just beautiful? It makes me choke up when I see it because it's absolutely gorgeous. She knows that I love hollyhocks, and she knows that I love hummingbirds. Isn't that amazing? So my Katie made this, and here's the back. She even worked some Angelina. Do you see a little bit of a sparkle? She worked Angelina fibers into it for me because she knows I love bling. Here's the back. And what I want to do is take it and have it conserved. I want to get a frame that has a little open air where it can be protected. I have it hanging up now, but I don't want dust and stuff to damage it because I will keep this for the rest of I will treasure this for the rest of my life. But I'm a very lucky woman, and this is what I get for my birthdays. I'm so lucky. I don't know if you can see any of the Angelina fibers, but I just think that it's so gorgeous. It just chokes me up. So that's my Katie girl. She just, in fact, the other day on Etsy, she has an Etsy site called Pearl and June, and she just sold one of her artworks. So she makes a lot of coffee cozies and things. To sell. She'll knit them and then felt them and then do designs. She did waves and sand and a beach chair and a beach umbrella the other day. It was so pretty. But she actually sold one of her felted art landscapes. So I was real tickled for her. She does beautiful, beautiful work. So, okay. So now I don't need that there. So thank y'all for looking at all my stuff. And yes, I did find my bird. She is now, let me see. Oops. I can't quite get it to turn. There she is. Her name is Kiwi. Oh, there. Okay, yeah, you can see her. I was trying to turn it the wrong way. I get confused because this is all backwards for me. But she's eating. Boy, she eats good. In fact, don't ever say, oh, she eats like a bird. Do you know they can eat their weight almost in a day? So, when I caught her, I got a little piece of a feather. Isn't that delicate? So anyway, but her new tail feathers are already 1/2 inch long. Yay! So, okay, let me go down and make sure I've got... Love the flamingo. Oh, I know. Okay. I have a thing for flamingos, okay? And my daughter made this for me. She knitted it. Look at these little knees. Is that the cutest thing? But she knitted it. And then I've got flamingos hanging around, and my daughter did the felted flamingo. And yay. So, okay. What kind of foot was I using? Okay, I will show you. Because I was lazy and I didn't want to take the time to change feet. I just actually did that quilting with this 1/4-inch foot. Has a little guide bar. But I would say, now where did my foot go the other day? Oh, here it is. Here it is. But I would just use a good standard foot. And you can use some of these feet or get some of the feet. They're white and they're Teflon. And anything that you would use to do quilting, you can do trapunto with. And I guess if you had a really thick trapunto, you could even use a zipper foot so you didn't have to smash it down. But yeah, y'all can see Kiwi eating, and boy, she loves fruits. So you can see better the ball by the house. Oh, yeah. So, okay, the sparkly did show up so good. I'm glad, because I love for you to see all the, Bonnie, thank you. I will tell her. And each of my children has a gift. I think that's the way with all of our children. And my daughter is an amazing teacher of high schoolers and has amazing compassion. And she reaches kids. It's just amazing. I'm scared of high schoolers, but she does beautifully with high schoolers. So that's her gift. And she's also very creative, too. My son is a musician and the gentlest soul you'd ever want to meet in the world. I've never met a nicer human being. He makes me feel guilty. I mean, I look mean compared to him. And then my Katie is, besides doing felt art, she is an animal whisperer. She can do things with animals that, no one else can do. Very, very spunky, but gentle soul. So I do love hummingbirds. Oh, I have 4 feeders out. Has anybody been having problems with mosquitoes? These new tiger mosquitoes that feed all day long? I mean, oh, please, I'm so done with mosquitoes. The only thing is we don't want them to start using DDT or dangerous things again that soften bird eggshells. So, we kind of have to. But we've only got a few more minutes because it's almost time for me to make some tacos. I am in a taco mood, and I'm going to put an old shirt on because I can't eat a taco in a taco shell without becoming a total mess. And I'm going to enjoy every moment of it. I also told him, I shouldn't tell you this because I'm type 2 diabetic. I said, can you pick up one of those chocolate cream pies from the freezer section? And he is more than happy to do that. He loves his sweets. She should enter that in a show. She should, shouldn't she? My God, she's so talented. So when it gets to be a low of 28 to 30, oh. But that's the thing. Winter is a great time for doing handwork on quilts, for doing binding, for doing applique, because, in the summer, I don't want to quilt on my lap. It's too hot. But in the winter, oh, it's nice to have that little extra warmth, A box frame. Oh, a box frame for the felting? Yeah. I've often wondered if I found a good deal on a felting machine, because they kind of came out and were the fad, and I think people are now like, I don't felt, but I think she enjoys doing it by hand. It's a lot of punching you do to get it felted. But what are y'all up to today? What are y'all up to? What are y'all working on? Or as Bonnie Hunter says, what's under your needle? I love that. If she hadn't have patented it, I would have used it in a heartbeat. But what are y'all working on? I'm trying to think. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. Okay, this will not go to waste. I now am enamored of the Inktense pencils and the Inktense markers. So this is going to be I'll have to do something with this and show you next week. A double wedding ring. Sonia, didn't you say you're kind of new to quilting? Good job, girl. That's not a new quilter quilt. Good job. Patty's been working on a small rag quilt. Now, do you have some really good rag quilt cutters? Because, boy, your hands get sore on that, don't they? Your warm fruit salad should be done now, so that will be your dessert. Yum. Dinner will be hamburger coleslaw from KFC. I love it. Last night, we have a little restaurant, and we had fried flounder. Oh, it was good. I was too full to eat the hush puppy, so I just kind of ate the outside edge. I love food, too. Love food. Oh, I'm sorry you're allergic to the dust that comes off the bird food. Wow. We used to have people, the Amish. I lived in Maryland. I lived in a community that had Amish, and this one woman got deathly ill. I mean, deathly ill. And they finally figured out, she had about 7 parakeets. They finally figured out that there's a mold that grows on the bird droppings that was she was dying. And once they realized that, they said, you can't have your birds anymore. She made a full recovery. You've been quilting 3 years, taught yourself from YouTube. Isn't YouTube wonderful? Oh my gosh. First time tackling curve piecing. Yes. And it's not as hard as you think. There is a Curve Master foot that I bought that I really enjoy. But the main thing is take a deep breath. I lived in Leonardtown, Maryland. Lexington Park area, down near the Patuxent Naval Air Station. And it was beautiful, and I raised my kids there. We did 4-H, and we had 10.5 acres and all that. It was nice, but I'm loving living in North Carolina now. So I tend to do well everywhere, I guess. But I think being raised in a transient city, a high military city like Virginia Beach, you don't have a hometown like some people think of, But Maryland's lots of trees, lots of wonderful trees. Okay. Yes, if I'm going to do quilting on a domestic, I would use a hopping foot. If I was going to be doing straight line quilting on a domestic, I'd use a walking foot. You're near Hagerstown. That's beautiful. Now, what was the town, Elliott, that kept flooding, that's had 200-year floods in the last few months? But Hagerstown's beautiful. Our favorite thing used to be to go to, what's the historic? Harper's Ferry. Ellicott City has been having terrible, that's been having terrible flooding problems. But we used to love to go to Harper's Ferry. It was just romantic. And we used to go and buy the girls a Victorian doll because they had a doll shop. They were pretty reasonably priced. But we used to love going to Harper's Ferry. And then my kids did some rafting down the Shenandoah or something. But that's a beautiful, Western Maryland's absolutely gorgeous. In fact, I went through the Flintstone Pass because I took my daughter to see if she wanted to go to Frostburg. And she ended up going to a teacher's college on the Eastern Shore, Salisbury. But Frostburg was quite the party school. But we went through this Flintstone Pass where it's sheer, it's a cut through the mountain. And it was dramatic, very dramatic. But you're in a beautiful part. Kimberly, you're in a beautiful part of Maryland, darling. I tell you what, would you tell these people how frightening the Beltway is? I have 2 of my 3 children still live up, one on the Eastern Shore of Maryland near Dover, and the other up in between Baltimore and Washington. And I try to say, I love my kids, but I don't know how much longer I can keep driving the 95 corridor and the Beltway. It terrifies me. They drive like maniacs up there. So would you explain to them, for these people who live in calmer places, a mosquito festival? Oh, no, I am not going to a mosquito festival. I hate those things. So, yeah, Kimberly, you live in a beautiful place. But yeah, if you could just at least type on here, yeah, the Beltway is awful. It's awful. But, and it seems to take me 9 hours when it should take 7. So I'm not used to it. I keep letting people in because I'm afraid they're going to hit me. I one time went to Philadelphia to see the Philadelphia Flower Show. Honest to God, the person behind us must not have thought we were driving fast enough, and so they bumped us and pushed us. I thought, I need to get out of here. This is scary. No, I kind of like small cities. When I was going to move, when I lived up in Leonardtown, it's south of Waldorf, if that helps you, Kim. But they said, oh, you should move to Raleigh or you should move to Charlotte. Are you kidding me? No way. That's too big for me. Texas Reporter Festival. Whoa. Now, how do you, Waxahachie? That, I love that. What a great Indian name. What a great Indian name. Oh, Kimberly, absolutely. Civil War stuff. I mean, every time I think of going to Harper's Ferry, I think of John Brown and the museum up there, and goodness gracious. Beltway only for money grubbing. Yeah. For Virginia career climbers. And do you know that people that live around there spend hours a day going back and forth to work? I just don't know if that's worth it. Do you think it's worth it? Oh. But I'm glad you live in Hagerstown now because it's beautiful up there. So you must just, I mean, all you have to do is look out your windows and it's beautiful. That's so neat. I love festivals and going to different things like that. I just heard, you know how they have these Renaissance festivals that a man got killed in one? He was throwing a javelin at something on the ground and it bounced and it caught him right under his sternum. Isn't that sad? Anyway, sorry. You were working on a wall hanging from a panel. Good job. That way you can decide how you want to embellish it. So I know what Mark was doing now. He was going to get our avocado and pie. So hopefully he got a nice big chocolate cream pie. I used to make French silk pies, but boy, is that a lot of work. So now it's like, want to buy one frozen? Not nearly as good, but retired to Blue Ridge Mountains after 10 years legal career. Oh, wow. Kim, boy, you have my respect. Blue Ridge Mountains, people who've never seen them don't realize how blue they are. And the last time when I went to judge a quilt contest, September 8th, we went past part of the Smoky Mountains. And, well, no, I'm sorry. We went past part of the Blue Ridge, but there was a play that they play here often called Smoke on the Mountains. And if you haven't seen it, and it's just where little bits of clouds, you know, you're up at a high enough elevation that there's these little wisps and it looks like smoke, but it's clouds on the mountains. So I'm sure you have seen that. 1/3. Oh, Kimberly, I'm so happy for you. You know, there comes a point where it's like, what's really more important, my health and my happiness, or, you know, that paycheck? And it reaches a point where it's just not worth the money anymore. That's like with Mark. You know, when he had to come to this part of North Carolina, the job market here had been in a slump, and he came from Dallas. And so he took a job at half the pay that he normally made in Texas, but he said, it's been kind of nice not to have that stress, not to constantly have a cell phone and a laptop, and you had to be in constant contact. So there's a trade-off, and we're doing just fine. Yes, we budget. Yes, we're careful, but we're doing just fine. And he's not going to suffer from the ill effects of stress-related illness. So I am so glad to see these new names. Oh, y'all are great. You visited the Smokies. Both mountain ranges are picture postcard gorgeous. You're right. They're beautiful. And I tell you, I love going to Charlottesville and to Monticello. Gorgeous. And in fact, you know what? I want to wait till the leaves have turned a little more, but I would love to go to Williamsburg. Who was on here? That is Kimberly. No, not Kimberly. Who's here from Hampton? Because my favorite thing to do in the fall is to go to Williamsburg. Oh my gosh. I love Williamsburg. It's beautiful. And somebody said, well, it's kind of the Disneyland of history. And it's like, yeah, but do you really want to walk down Main Street through pig poop? I don't think so. So the clean version's okay with me. You live in your hometown, Diane 57. And y'all know Diane won our drawing last week. So I mailed her package Friday because we had the tropical storm come through here Thursday, and I hadn't gotten it ready earlier in the week. But, yeah, I don't travel as much as I used to, but Mark and I are still hoping that he's going to retire, and we're going to get in the motorhome and go see the country. He's thinking now, instead of just being gone for 2 years, he's thinking, what if we keep the house and try to home base, come back? So we'll see. First week of November for Williamsburg leaves. You grew up near there. Okay. Now, Kimberly, I was talking to, who was I talking to earlier? Oh boy, Bonnie's going to send us some other good stuff. So there'll be more drawings. If any of you would like to join our Yahoo group, where we kind of do more of this, and Bonnie is always finding great new patterns, I am going to put here, we have an Our Time to Quilt Yahoo group. And if you just send me an email, so I've got your email address, and it's ourtime2quilt at pwc.com. We will make sure to invite you to our Yahoo group, and then you can be eligible for our giveaways. And let me tell you, Bonnie sent me 2 packages this week, one with pre-printed panels, that really neat, and another one, gorgeous patterns. And there was a pattern in there from Jill Lilly. I'm wondering if I need to look at that before that goes out the door with but beautiful patterns that are perfect, not used patterns, gorgeous. And so we will be doing more giveaways. Oh my gosh, you lived in Chesapeake. I lived in the western branch of Chesapeake before I moved to Maryland. I was born in Norfolk, raised in Virginia Beach, then moved to Portsmouth when I first got married, then moved to Chesapeake right before I moved to Maryland. It is a small world. Chesapeake is not as quiet anymore. It's huge. I lived where, Chesapeake Mall, is that the name of it? But it was in the Western Branch area. And right across from me used to be cornfields, and then they put a mall there. That kind of changed the atmosphere just a little. I said, too busy, I got to go. So, Houston traffic, I have heard. Mark has told me about Houston traffic. And you're doing it in the heat and humidity. So you win. So, but I want so badly to go to Williamsburg. I got to talk. That's a long drive. I have to figure out how I can convince Mark that we really should do it. Do you have tips for quilting with chronic low back pain? Pillows? Well, now, are you meaning like actually sitting and doing the quilting, or sitting in a sewing machine and doing the piecing? You met your husband in active duty during Desert Shield. Wow. Wow. Both. Okay. I have degeneration in my lower back, and I got thrown off a horse when I was 19. Dumb. Um, but I have the same problem. And a couple things, of course, everybody tells you get up, move every hour, get up, stretch, bend, move. I use a pillow. Sometimes I put my feet up on a little stool. That might help a little bit. When it comes to quilting, I quilt in, if I'm going to hand quilt, I quilt in a hoop on my lap with my feet up in my recliner. I'm lucky that my long arm, I can sit at my chair and roll back and forth. And I just practice really good posture, and I sit up nice and straight. Heating pads, Advil, but definitely get up and stretch the back muscles. I tend to, unfortunately, I have my sewing machine here, my cutting mat there, my ironing board here. So I tend to sit here for 5 hours straight forgetting to get up. Bad, 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 bad. Don't do that. But I have one of these mesh back cushion things for my lower back I got a long time ago at Walgreens. I also keep a pillow around. I have a pillow on my seat to help cushion the tip of my spine. Yeah, elevating feet on a stool is amazing. When I go to my retreat, I take a folding reclining chair so that I can, every evening try or think I plan on it. But I have a chance to sit and put my feet up and take the pressure off my back. Lumbar pillows, yes, and I have a mesh lumbar frame on this chair. And finding what chair works to give you a break. My foot pedal is elevated on a non-skid stand, needs ease. So that helps kind of, just change your back. Yeah. Backs are tough things. And have you noticed, you sweeties, that your shoulders are getting weaker with age? I didn't know if it's from my statin drugs I take, but my shoulders. Wow, Bonnie, you're something else in sending stuff. This group is going to be so appreciative of all the goodies that you give us. Thank you. So, yeah, my frame, you can quilt on a frame from a rolling, bar stool, too. But I can't stand too much, and I'm a little top heavy, so it puts a strain on my back. Now, I have another thing that I tried, especially when I went to judge the quilt show. I have a little backpack that I put heavy things in, put it on my back, and it helps counterbalance the front, and that actually helps too. Oh, you have degenerative arthritis in your lower back too. Yep. Yeah, I had an x-ray for something, and they said, do you know that you've got some degenerative disc in your back? And I went, yeah. And there's even one of my vertebrae got a piece broken off of it. I told my mother I hit my rear end coming down the stairs as a teenager, and I knew I'd hurt something. And I was like, I know when I did that one, or was it from the horse fall? When we're young, we don't take care of our bodies, and we don't realize we'll pay for it one day. So I need to get ready to go in about 5 minutes. If you have any other questions, please ask before I leave. You have been a joy once again. I always tell Mark when I get off of here, my feet don't even touch the ground. I'm so happy and gleeful. And as you see, my bird is doing beautifully. The washing machine, even though we're having to learn that foreign language of new modern electronic products, it's doing beautifully. And I told Mark, don't, cut the dryer down a little because it gets things so wrung out that he was having the dryer set too long, and those things were getting too dry. So let's see. Oh, yeah, herniate. Once a disc herniates. My father had 5 back surgeries and had to diffuse between his neck and his back, like 5 fusions. I don't want to go through that. Yes, you have to get up and walk, and you've got to stretch. You've got to bend over gently. And so I hate picking stuff off the floor, but every time I say, Deb, you need to do this. You need to keep that back stretched and limber. So it hurts to do it, but after you've done it enough, actually you feel better. Topic next week. What's a good topic? What would y'all like to see demonstrated? Would you like paper piecing demonstration? What would you like demonstrated? Let me know and I will do it. Now, you know what, Bonnie? That's perfect. That is a good idea. And it's also a good way to keep from getting deep vein thrombosis. So stay hydrated. And I have my Bubba mug full of ice water, and I drink all day long. So if you get dehydrated, the veins in the top of your thighs where you're sitting can get kind of pinched, and that's what can cause blood clots. Keep hydrated, bend, stretch, move. I have heard about the blue bonnets, and Mark said it's against the law to pick them too. Oh, good, Patty. Good job, Patty. You know what? If Mark and I get around to taking this motorhome trip across the country, maybe I can pin y'all on a map and go see all of y'all. We'll do live streams from each person's house. Wouldn't that be fun? I would love that. So, or we'll meet at a local restaurant and live stream from there. Well, any other questions, Bonnie? You have it? Paper piecing is a good topic? Okay. Yeah, if I don't do paper piecing often, I forget. I kind of go, oh, how do I do this? Because you're doing it upside down and backwards. Like Ginger Rogers. Everybody gave Fred Astaire all the attention. Ginger did the same stuff in high heels and backwards. Hello. Oh, I would love to see the Blue Bonnets in person. And I want to go to the Plano Balloon Festival. And I think there's one in New Mexico. I got so many exciting places to go see. And I want to see things like whatever the biggest garlic, clove, all those little festivals I want to see. Aha, yeah. Well, guys, y'all are wonderful. Thank you for joining me here today. Thank you for how you lift my spirit and inspire me to do more. I have done more quilting and sewing since I've been doing this than I had before. And it's a great way to inspire me and to challenge me. And this week, Bonnie, I will work on my paint chip challenge. I promise. So, and I just want to let you know with our retreat that we hold it at Camp Walter Johnson, which is a Salvation Army camp. Our group is bringing in almost $9,000 of business for their very worthwhile program. So, woo, I'm happy. A way to have fun and make money for a good cause too. So, I want to see all those festivals. Biggest ball of yarn, all of that. I need to go to Thomasville and see the biggest chair. They used to have furniture. It's a furniture capital in North Carolina. So you are very welcome, Miss Patty. And I feel like I've found a bunch of new friends, and it's so much fun. And it's like our own weekly quilting bee, Sisterhood of the Quilts. Although we should do a Sisterhood of the Traveling Quilts. Maybe we'll do like a round row or something, send it from each one of us. And that way we can call ourselves Sisterhood of the Traveling Quilts. Y'all take good care. Have a great week. And remember, feed your soul, because without your soul, life's not worth much. So do something good, fill up your soul. And there's no better way than a quilt. Well, maybe knitting. maybe painting, but sitting at the store machine and doing the quilting. There you go. All right. Y'all take care. Have a great week. And as you can see, the bird's doing very well. So thank you for all your good wishes and take good care. Mwah. Next week, I'll also show you the fabric I chose for my newest grandbaby blanket. Bye-bye, guys. Take care. See you next week.